Hello, hello. Welcome to Coffee, Sage, and Tarot. This is going to be the weekly check-in for December 29th through to January 4th. We are headed into 2026. That is crazy. We are going to take a look and continue on with this universal message here and just see what card and what theme is kind of resonating for all of the different signs. And then, of course, in your signs reading, we'll go ahead and break that down, as well as what energies are hitting you this week. And, see if we can gain any clarity about any situations that are popping up. Everything is time-stamped, so you can go ahead and check the description there if you want to just pop through this and just meet me at your sign. Go for it. But I think that's all I got here. Feel free to like and subscribe to add your energy to the collective. That's great for these generalized readings, and as well when I do the monthlies. The monthlies will be up this week, if they're not up already. And these are general readings, okay? So take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and, if you're really not finding yourself in these readings here, just check your other placements. You'll find yourself there. And sometimes we have to reverse the energy or just kind of know that a specific message is meant for somebody else in the collective, okay? That's all I've got. Happy New Year. Let me know what you're doing for New Year's. Put it in the comments below. I'm super excited. I'm normally kind of chill on New Year's. I don't like to do too much. I don't like to be around people. Is that bad? Is that bad? I just like to have like a chill New Year's where I just kind of focus on what I want to manifest and bring in to the new year. And, let everybody else do their thing. I prefer to be at home and, in my own vibe, in my own energy. Let me know what you're doing. And I'll see you at your sign. Let's get started. Universal message. Hey, this is new, so I'm still getting used to it. Let's go ahead and see what the universal message is for all signs for this week. Let's see what that universal message is for all signs, please. Thank you. All right. The Ace of Wands and the Seven of Wands. So it does feel like we're defending this, our energy here. And that seems really important. Defending what we're putting our energy towards, perhaps some new opportunity, some new passion here. And that feels really important as we head into the new year, as we close out 2025. We want to be careful of and mindful of who we're sharing this with. A little bit defensive, but in a right way, I would say. We're protecting, right? Protecting what we're trying to create, protecting what we're trying to manifest, protecting our energy. And I think that's really lovely. Like I said, we'll see how that is interpreted for each of the 12 zodiac signs. And now I will meet you at your sign. Let's get started. Aries, hello. Let's dive right in and see what Spirit is bringing up for you. The Magician and that Six of Cups. Okay, so Empress, Sun, Star. So you're hard at work trying to do things for yourself, nurture yourself, give yourself what fulfills you. And that's really nice to see. You're putting in some work, and that does make sense that you're being mindful of and protectful of your energy, right? And your essence here. You don't want anything to kind of disturb you while you're doing your thing and figuring it out and manifesting for yourself here. That's really lovely, Aries. Let's go ahead and see what clarifiers we can pull for you here. So far, so good. Oh, 2, 4, 6. Okay. You're like, and. All right. Yeah. Huh. So I see in the shadow here, you're getting ready to put in work, and that could be some New Year's resolutions for you, Aries. But I'm seeing there's definitely kind of a shedding here that's happening. Standing in your power, getting ready to stand in your strength here, and perhaps give attention to some aspects of yourself, some aspects of your life that you have been either using as a crutch. It just kind of like with those devil tendencies in that shadow there, we're addressing kind of things one by one that no longer serve. And we're kind of saying, okay, it's time to put an end to this here. So I do see the Tower in your shadow here, but it does feel like you're disrupting that. You're the disruptor here, which is why you're manifesting this change. You're kind of putting yourself, as your first priority here in a different way, in a loving way. And it's from a place of how can I give myself what I need in this moment, and how can I fulfill myself here, and stand true in that, right? Coming into the shadow here, it's great. It really is. We've got the 9 of Cups, 4 of Cups reversed, 5 of Pentacles reversed, Empress, 9 of Swords reversed, Temperance, 6 of Cups right now popping into that clarifier here, the Moon and Justice, with the 10 of Wands and the 10 of Pentacles here, and then the Star in the shadow. Really, really lovely. We're accentuating that point, like I said, that we are finding an ending, which is really quite lovely. And all of the cards that are reversed are perfect. It does feel like we're almost renouncing this idea of, I'm not going to overthink. I'm not going to do this. It feels like your intentions for the new year is really what I'm seeing here, and it's important. It feels like 2026 is you definitely have a goal, and you're setting out to achieve that goal. Temperance, I'm loving seeing that, as well as that Empress energy, a little bit more feminine, right? Some feminine energy influences here. So knowing that you have that power, but not really having to assert it with a strong fist, which is really lovely. Being mindful of where you're spending your energy, being mindful of who you're giving it to, being mindful of how you're talking to yourself, right? Finding that harmony, that balance seems to be very much a priority for you here. Not quite sure, right, of how that cup and how we're fulfilling ourselves, but we've made that decision that it is going to continue to be a priority, Aries, and that's really lovely. And it does make sense. It doesn't feel like the 7 of Wands is at all like you're not going on the attack here, and it's not a harsh 7. It's you're being mindful of where you're giving your energy to, right? You're being mindful of kind of keeping others at bay so that you can go ahead and do what you need to do and figure out what fulfills you and what you need to get done, right? So that's really lovely here. Any final thoughts? Yes, that one just hopped right out. Page of Pentacles and that Devil energy in the shadow here. Yeah, so with that Devil kind of popping up closer and closer in the shadow, it does feel like there's we're looking at the limitations that we placed on ourselves here, and the ways that, perhaps some addictions, perhaps some indulgences here, perhaps some patterns that have become too binding. And we're open to looking at those in a new way, right? Opening ourselves to challenge, do these work or do these no longer. Page of Pentacles here. Yeah, you're focused, right? You see a path forward here and you're trying to make that path forward happen. Perhaps you have gained some new insight here, some new clarity, some new aha moment that has happened for you, or perhaps it's just the end of the year and we're kind of really hyper focused on what our intention is for 2026. Either way, you look fantastic, Aries, protecting of your energy, protecting of yourself, and that's beautiful to see. And one more thing, it does feel like that Aries that I've read for the majority of this year has been very deliberate about picking and choosing their battles and making sure they're not picking up more than they can carry. And so it's nice to see that that energy is on the exit. Thank you so much. I appreciate you stopping by. All the best for 2026. I look forward to reading for you in the new year. You take care. Leo, hello. Let's go ahead and see what the cards are saying for the week of December 29th for you. Hierophant energy and the King of Wands in that shadow there for you. Huh. So at least in your shadow here, it feels like you're really focused on the home life and putting in work there, putting in work to your foundations here, what matters, your priorities, and really just, it feels all encompassing, and just to be your number one priority, which does make sense for the holidays. And perhaps you're really focused on carrying that energy forward into the new year here. The Hierophant here, speaking on our roles, traditional values here, which does make sense that we're focusing on the home. That's the traditional place where we spend, a lot of our time, a lot of our energy kind of cultivating our position there. Or perhaps doubling down on that as your priority and kind of going back to basics for some of you, but back to focusing all of your attention to, I'm trying to figure out how to say this, Leo. Back to focusing on, I feel like traditional gets such a bad rap. Just focusing on the home and making those values more of a priority. Okay, I will leave it there. Let's go ahead and clarify this Hierophant energy for you. Thank you. So I'm just checking your shadow here, and I see that Wheel of Fortune, which does make sense, just kind of as we are coming to the close. 10 of Pentacles here as well. That's lovely. So it feels like you're relatively stable financially here, which is nice. It's nice to have that security, Leo, as you head into 2026. That feels quite nice. I do see some sort of conflict on the horizon here. It could be inner conflict. So take it as it resonates here. Coming into your shadow, that King of Wands, coming into your clarifiers here, that King of Wands did climb out of that shadow here. And we have the Hierophant clarified by the Page of Pentacles, 6 of Swords, Queen of Swords, Justice in the reverse, as well as that 5 of Wands in reverse, King of Wands, and Judgment, both right side up here. it feels like things have slowed down for you a little bit, and it's slowed down enough to see that for some of you, a legal battle or situation has either gotten out of control or gone into a place that you didn't want it to go. And so we're kind of reevaluating that. For others of you, it could be that could be a couple of things. It could be that you've become too involved in a situation that is potentially toxic here, or you're becoming so involved that you're taking things into your own hands and not letting karma do its thing for the other parties involved. Could also mean that there is a situation that has gotten a little bit out of control and is no longer what you thought it was when you stepped into it. Okay. With the King of Wands and Judgment here, it does feel like there's some sort of ending that we're coming to, that we're approaching as it relates to this, situation here. And you're saying, I know what needs to be done. So it does make sense. Perhaps you're relying on somebody. Perhaps you're seeking some sort of wisdom as it relates to whatever this situation is here. Right. And we're just trying to bring it more into, as if we take a look here, right? They're mirroring each other almost, right? So it's almost, it could be this idea of things have gotten out of hand here. We're feeling just a little bit off kilter in terms of whatever this scenario is. And so we're having to rely and go back to focus very much on the home, drive our focus there. Perhaps ask somebody that is a mentor, perhaps lean on our family a little bit, lean on our, religion, our spiritual healer, whatever that is, just a tad bit more than we would normally in order to protect ourselves, right? And protect ourselves from getting out of hand here, or perhaps protect ourselves from being the victim of, whatever this kind of dynamic is, that it feels like there's kind of, could be bullying, something like that that's coming through here that's just not, it is no longer productive. Okay, the situation is no longer productive, and so we're seeing that, and we're kind of saying, okay, we need to figure something out here, right? And so that's kind of what I'm seeing for you, Leo, this week. Okay, let's get some, there we go, Three of Wands, Queen of Swords. Yeah, some hard truths for sure that we're facing this week, Leo. The Three of Wands, we're definitely open to seeing, open in the sense of things have gotten calmer. Perhaps you're removed from the situation, so you can kind of see it for what it is, especially with that Queen of Swords now popping up twice, right? It's the idea that there's some wisdom here, some lesson. We're out of it so that we can start to understand it and dissect that situation, that dynamic a little bit more here, and really see it from a position of removing ourselves, right? Almost see it kind of objectively as a third party, because we're not actively engaging in this, right? Or perhaps that Hierophant energy is helping you kind of elevate to a place where you can see it for what it is, right? So there's an openness here, there's a willingness. It's almost like as well there is this idea of timing, right? Perhaps with the end of the year, I think naturally we just get a little bit more reflective. And so perhaps this is the break you needed. This is the time you needed in order to reevaluate this dynamic here and see you need to be protective of your peace. You need to be prioritize yourself. And it seems like whatever's happening here, obviously you're doing that because I see you traveling away from this dynamic in order to reflect on it and see it for what it is. So you took the space that you required. So good for you, Leo. It kind of feels like perhaps some of you are fighting for your life a little bit. Okay. And now we're kind of, okay, how do we move on and go forward without having to be so on the defensive, right? Leo, that's what I have for you as we head into 2026. Thank you so much for stopping by. I wish you a very happy new year, and we'll see you next time. Sagittarius, how are you? Let's go ahead and see what the 29th has in store. All right, so we do have a tower coming through in the shadow here. So I'm getting this idea that you knew that this was coming. And you're addressing this tower from an approach of Six of Cups energy. What works for me? What can I give to me? You're being very, how can I be, you're being very gentle with yourself, with whoever isn't, if there's another person, you're being very gentle with that person here. It does feel like this is something that might have it feels challenging. Okay, there feels a certain weight to this, but you're trying to be as gentle and as calm and as loving as possible. Five of Pentacles here as your card for the week. Sorry. So a little bit of like we're going through it a little bit, Sagittarius. Let's go ahead and see what clarifiers we have for you this week. Okay. All right, so we've got Hierophant, Ace of Wands, Six of Pentacles, Four of Wands, Nine of Wands, Strength in the reverse, Page of Cups here, and then in your shadow, yeah, that tower is coming again. Five of Pentacles here. That world energy. Okay, so it feels like there's something here where you're trying to it feels like you're trying to fulfill a role that might not come super naturally to you, right? And it's a lot. And it's exhausting here is what I'm seeing. And it feels like something that for some of you, you might be feeling really inauthentic. You might be feeling not yourself. You might be feeling like you're sacrificing part of yourself here. And this tower, it kind of feels like I am not this. And so that it's almost like putting on a shoe that's too tight or too narrow, and you're, you know, you gotta walk in it. You have almost at Sagittarius, I'm getting this feeling like you have no choice. It's just like there's a duty bound or something like that, where it's like, okay, we have to do this, we have to give to this, and it's exhausting. I'm just laughing because it's like I just feel that tension in my body. And so it would make sense that this tower is coming through, because it does feel like there's some sort of release here, some sort of like argument that might happen, just simply for the sake of you need to have some sort of release here. And I'm not saying that it's not worth it, right? It's just something that perhaps doesn't come naturally to you, Sagittarius. It's a role that doesn't quite fit you or fit your personality here. But it's something that, I mean, you're doing it, so it must be, of value or of priority or of purpose in some sort of way here. I'm just saying it's not something, I'm just seeing that it is something that is, a little bit more exhausting to you and doesn't feel like it's fully aligned with who you want to be. And so I'm seeing here, maybe somebody tries to push you too far in this role or taking this on here. And so there's a bit of, some steam that needs to be released from the pot here. And that's kind of what I'm seeing for you this week. Ace of Wands, Seven of Wands, that universal message as it relates to the Sagittarius that I see here and the energy that you're bringing me really does feel like you're on an island alone. And almost, I feel you're the first sign that has shown me we want to attack a little bit. We want to, no, it's like this. There's almost this, like, when two magnets come, they can attract or they can resist. It feels like you're resisting this a little bit. And so this energy feels, it's almost like there's a push and pull that's happening here. And that's kind of what I see with your energy and wanting to kind of engage in, but also repel from this dynamic. So it kind of makes sense, that Five of Pentacles showing up here. Okay, let's go ahead and see if there's anything else. Perhaps there's somebody in your ear telling you that this has to be done. Perhaps you're telling yourself in your ear, but it's just, it doesn't feel, it doesn't give the appearance that it is something that comes naturally to you. Page of Wands, Ten of Pentacles here, and then we have that Four of Swords. Yeah, it just feels like, you could be disassociating from the situation here, or parts of, trying to be present here while you give yourself to this kind of energy. Yes, for some of you, there might be this understanding that this kind of role or this moment is not forever. And so we need to be in this. We might not necessarily like it, or our natural impulse is to kind of repel this dynamic here. But we do understand that there's some sort of something at the end of the tunnel here for the greater good, something of that nature. Okay. With that Page of Wands and the Ten of Pentacles, it's perhaps it's a new role. Perhaps some of you are hosting, for the holidays for the first time here, and it's a lot, and it's something that really doesn't come naturally to you, right? Like I sat on my outside, like I prefer to be on my own for New Year's, right? Just in my own bubble, doing my own thing with my own energy, and I'm cool with it. And perhaps, for some of you, that's your dynamic as well. And perhaps you do have an influx of people, influx of energy in your home, and it's worth it, but it's something that perhaps you're doing for the first time or doesn't come naturally. And so there's certain things, perhaps people are stepping all over your new carpet, right? And so that's really getting to you, because you are allowing these people into your home and you're hosting. And so just something like that where the dynamic really doesn't fit, but you do understand. And so in those moments, maybe you go into your closet and you just kind of take some deep breaths, something like that, right? And it could just be in a situation where you're kind of just getting through, or maybe you need to go sit in your car, turn your car on and just scream, you know what I mean? Just to get that energy out, just to release that kind of steam there. And just, relieve a little bit of, that tension or whatever that is, because you do understand you know, you want to be here, you want to be doing this. But it's not. It's like a shoe that doesn't fit. Okay. Sagittarius, that's what I have for you here. Let me know if you are hosting. I'm so curious to see here, because that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting for a lot of you. Okay. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. And all the best for 2026. We'll see you next time. You take care. Capricorn, hello. Let's go ahead and see what we can see for the week of the 29th. Three of Pentacles, Knight of Wands. New beginnings. New opportunity here. Something new is coming, which is great. And I'm just looking at your shadow here. It's like we have to... Okay, I see. I got you now. Okay, so it's this, there's a new beginning happening here, and we have to, Capricorn, make the decision, or perhaps for some of you, continually make that decision between, are we going to kind of let our thoughts run away with us, or are we going to be sound, stable, and consistent, or steady, sound, steady, and consistent here? And sit in our truth, know what fulfills us, and continue to move in the way that we have been moving? Or are we just going to kind of let our thoughts run away with us, right? So that's kind of what I'm seeing here as it relates to this new opportunity here, and being mindful of that Ace of Wands, being mindful of your energy here, what you are giving your attention to. Yeah, just being careful of how you're distributing your energy. Seems to be how that universal message relates to you, Capricorn. But let's go ahead and see some clarifiers for you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Okay. So 9 of Pentacles here, looking good, stable, secure, right? And again, that idea of, are we going to be sound, steady, stable, secure here, in our knowing and in our truth of we are fulfilled, continuing on and being consistent in whatever way that you have been is fulfilling you, is giving you what you require, what you need, what you set out for. And so that's really lovely. So why are we going to let one little moment of overthinking or one, seed of doubt kind of creep in and take us to a place that we don't really need to go, right? And so I'm kind of seeing more of that here in your shadow for your clarifiers here, right? That steadiness, that self-assuredness, that, it took a while to get here, but we're here, right? And we're enjoying. Perhaps for some of you, you want to hold on to this feeling. 4 of Pentacles is a Capricorn card. It could just be that we want to be here, right? With our full being. And it transforming here. Transitioning, I'm hearing as well. Okay, so really beautiful, really, really beautiful here. Stepping into your clarifiers, we have that Page of Cups, Two of Cups, Ten of Wands in the reverse, Ten of Pentacles right side up, Wheel of Fortune, High Priestess, and that Two of Pentacles. So overall, you look fantastic here. There's a new relationship, a new dynamic that is entering the stage here for you. And if that doesn't resonate, it's the possibility of and the ability of you being able to meet somebody in the middle. Okay, but I really do see the possibility of a new relationship here, partnership. And relationship doesn't need to mean like relationship like love ship. It could just be a new relationship coming through, right? A new friend, a new business relationship, right? Something like that along those lines here. That feels very I want to say for some of you, it feels like home. For others of you where it doesn't really, you meeting people at kind of at center point, and not extending beyond that feels like home. There's a concept of home here that I'm seeing where, for some of you, it might be burdensome. For others of you, it might not be. There might be a lot going on here, but either way, it's I'm getting this sense of this feels like home. Okay. Heading over here, again, there's this sense of security here that I'm seeing. That's really nice. And, there's a sense of community as well, which, could be how you're planning on celebrating the holidays and just inviting more, being perhaps a little bit more social here. But overall, you look really lovely. You look very kind of even Steven is what I'm seeing here for you. And, whatever that Two of Pentacles is that you're juggling, right? We have the Two of Cups, the Two of Pentacles here. It just speaks to the newness of whatever this is here for you. But it feels like home. And there might be some kind of struggle with, letting that doubt or insecurity creep in, or letting people kind of tack on so much more, or even that tendency for you to tack on so much more to whatever this is. But ultimately, with that High Priestess showing up, to trust yourself, that the consistency, the choices you need to make, right? We have the 3 twos. There's an inner knowing here that I'm seeing for you, Capricorn. And it's this idea of if you don't know it now, you will know it later. And so we're just going to be over here doing our thing and trying to keep our cool is what I'm seeing for you. 4 of Wands in the reverse here, and the 4 of Swords. 4 of Wands in the reverse. So again, not overly surprised to see that card, just again, because we are kind of entering this time where we're focusing with our family. We're home for the holidays, bringing in the new year. It could be that whatever this 4 of Wands here, celebration doesn't ring true for you, or perhaps in some instances here, you're kind of pulling yourself away from that. Perhaps even with these celebrations here, there might be this kind of desire to pull away because you're focused on whatever this 3 of Pentacles is. So there's a little, you're not really in the moment of these celebrations here, perhaps because, that's when that night is popping up and that kind of overthinking, or you feel like there's so much going on, right, with that 10 of Wands energy that you can't really enjoy. Or it could be that you're just, so excited for what's next that we're not in the moment of of these celebrations here. Or it could be that it doesn't fit anymore, right? And you're realizing that and you're moving beyond. Capricorn, overall, you look very great. You look very self-assured here. Yeah, I love it. What a way to end off the year. It's beautiful. Capricorn, thank you so much for stopping by. Happy New Year. And we'll see you next time. You take care. Taurus, hello. Let's jump right in and see what we can see for the week of the 29th. 10 of Cups. 7 of Swords. Okay. So I'm wondering if somebody is trying to cast doubt on a soul bond relationship with you, a lover's relationship, and cast shade on your 10 of Cups, your enjoyment of, celebration and all of that this week here. That's kind of what I'm seeing for you here. Let's go ahead and get some clarifiers for Taurus, please. Kind of like raining on your parade. Okay. All right, yeah, so that wheel is kind of showing up for everyone here. And then, again, it just does make sense with it being the end of a year here. We're trying to wrap things up. The universe is trying to wrap things up and kind of tidy our house or declutter it or, throw something into the mix, whatever it is, before we finish 2025 and head into 2026 here. You know what matters to you. You know where you stand. You know what you're putting your energy into here. And it just feels like somebody is trying to rain on that parade a little bit for you or take away from your enjoyment this week, Taurus. Ace of Wands, 7 of Wands. It feels like you're being very protective. Almost, I'm wondering if you're holding yourself back from engaging with this, perhaps in the way that you want to. Okay. Into your clarifiers here, we have the 2 of Cups, the Fool, Page of Wands, 5 of Wands, 8 of Wands, the Sun, and that 3 of Cups, which that 3 of Cups we also have right here. So kind of deeper in that shadow, and it is coming into the clarifiers. Yeah. Lots of fired up. Fired up, right? I'm wondering if you just want to be with who you want to be with and have that be it. But then it's like, other people are trying to put their nose in your business a little bit. And you're kind of like, gosh, like, dang, like just stay out of it. Like, I don't want to see you like this. I don't want you to, like, your opinion doesn't matter. Why do you feel like you're entitled to an opinion with what is going on and how I'm spending my time and who I'm choosing to spend my time with and how I'm choosing to enjoy myself, like, butt out, and that's kind of what I'm seeing here is just all of this kind of drama. And then we're like, you know what? We're going to celebrate how we want to celebrate, and that's fine. And so it does feel like there's a little bit of passion that's kind of coming through this week for you. And yeah, it's like you're trying to hold yourself back from really engaging in the way that you want to. And maybe you're saying like, in the spirit of the holidays, I'm not going to let this Seven of Swords kind of get to me. And you're not. You're really trying hard not to here. You're kind of, okay, let it go. That Fool energy does feel like a true Fool here for you, right? We notice all that blue that's showing up. And then we have that Fool. It's kind of like, I can rise above this. I can be cool. And you might kind of feel a little bit excited or excitable, right? Have that little bit of fire that's going through. But we're kind of like, no, we're going to celebrate and we're going to enjoy. And, who cares if this person is trying to cast shade or whatever it is? I'm protecting my energy. I'm reserving it for what matters here. And that's kind of what I'm seeing for you, Taurus, which is really quite lovely. Let's see if there's anything else here. We got 2. Yeah, that 5 of Wands showing up again in that shadow. Queen of Pentacles, focusing on the home. Ace of Wands in the reverse. So we have the Ace of Wands as the universal message, and then it is popping through here for you. Yeah, there's a sense of fire here, and it feels like with that Ace of Wands in reverse, it could be like there's like I said, like that desire, or perhaps you're even thinking that that person is trying to get a rise out of you. That person, that situation, that dynamic is trying to push you, trying to test you here. And it feels like you're really trying to rise above that. And really, yeah, take the high road. You're trying to take the high road here and just enjoy what you came to enjoy. Enjoy what the season is all about. Focus on the good, focus on the positive. And if this person is part of those celebrations here, it's kind of like, okay, we're gonna, let X do their thing. We understand that they, perhaps this might be a repeating pattern for them. And it's this idea of, we understand, we see where that kind of test or that deception is coming through, and we're going to rise above. And you're taking the high road here, which is really lovely. Queen of Pentacles again, you're focusing on your home, you're focusing on what you're building, you're focusing on, your fulfillment, your enjoyment of that fulfillment here. Personal satisfaction, I think, for a lot of people in general, not just for Taurus, right? For pretty much all the signs, this has been a bit of a tumultuous year, and it feels like you want to be present in the enjoyment of celebrating your wins, celebrating all that's positive here. And so there's no room for this, right? And so good for you. Yeah, a true Fool, which is really lovely to see for you, Taurus. I love this energy for you. Let's bring that energy into 2026. You know what I mean? That's what I have for you. I wish you all the best heading into 2026, and I look forward to reading for you next week. We'll see you next time. Virgo, hello. How you doing? Let's go ahead and see what we can see for December 29th. The week of December 29th. 10 of Swords here with that Page of Cups. Okay, so what I am seeing here is just a little bit of uncertainty, Virgo, in terms of what's next. And perhaps kind of taking a step or kind of taking a beat here to determine how we move forward. So perhaps guarding your energy and kind of in a period of observing, taking in analysis is what I'm hearing. I'm just figuring out how to move forward at the end of whatever has come to a close for you here. Let's get some clarifiers here for Virgo. Get some clarifiers for Virgo. Nope. Okay. All right. Okay. We've got a bit of a novel here. All right. Sorry about that, Virgo. Alrighty. So yeah, so it does feel like you're figuring out where to go next or how to move forward here. Been hard at work. The Six of Cups has been coming up for pretty much every sign so far. And that kind of makes sense. It's like, how are we, as we close out the end of 2025 here, it's kind of like, how are we going to continue to build a life that is fulfilling for us? And so that kind of theme kind of is seeming to run across, and it is making its way into your reading as well, Virgo. It's just this idea of how can we move forward in a way that fulfills us, right? And it feels like there's a little bit of uncertainty surrounding that, and perhaps this idea of you don't know what that looks like, right? And just this idea of maybe, I'm wondering if some of you are struggling with the idea of maybe you'll never know, right? But here we are with this long novel of clarifiers that we're going to attempt. Alrighty, we've got the Page of Wands, Wheel of Fortune, Knight of Pentacles, Seven of Wands, Four of Wands, Queen of Swords, Ten of Wands, Death in the reverse, as well as Five of Wands in the reverse. And I feel like that part of it speaks to this idea of uncertainty, right? We understand that something has come to a close here. And I'm wondering if you're showing up, Virgo, resistant to that change because we don't know what is in store outside of this dynamic, right? And so we're almost being protective because we're unsure. There's a little bit of, like I said, this analysis here. And perhaps you're scared of, potential threats, right? That Seven of Wands popping into your clarifiers here. We're scared of, I'm wondering if safety scares some of you. The idea of that, or the idea of, constantly being on your toes, or constantly feeling like in that fight or flight, that when things kind of settle down and even out, which is perhaps what might be happening for some of you, there's an uncertainty there, right? And so it's hard to come out of that fight or flight, right? And so that might be part of it. But there's an acknowledgement of that here. And it feels like there's a willingness to let go of certain things, but a hesitancy in terms of how to move forward, right? So I really do feel that struggle there for you this week, Virgo. And it just feels like there's some new insight that's coming through. We're seeing this differently. We're seeing this dynamic differently here, and we're wanting, if you're not seeing, no, I feel like you are seeing it differently. And there's this kind of, it's a priority is what I'm saying here. This idea of, even if we're a little bit resistant to that change, that transformation that we want it still to take place, because we don't want to, we're done with what's coming to a close. Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead and get some. Oh, that was very deliberate. Nine of Pentacles here. Six of Wands. Yeah, it feels like this is where you want to be, right? Nine of Pentacles, you want to flourish, you want to have that success, you want to feel good. Six of Wands, perhaps some of you want that recognition, right? Of validation, maybe that you're doing a good thing, or that you're on the right track, on the right path. But just this idea of clear direction, it feels, and having those around you kind of on side, on your team, right? That's more the vibe that I get with this Six of Wands here. And it just feels like, how do we get here? This is the ideal. And so again, it's like we have a vision. We're just a little bit resistant to taking action, I would say, just yet. You're closing your loops, Virgo. You're closing your loops just as we close this year, right? And perhaps it will be kind of a rough ending for you, a challenging or difficult in that manner, Virgo. But you know where you want to be. You know what you want to look like. And, you know, you're hard at work trying to make that happen for you. And that's commendable. Alrighty. Thank you so much for stopping by. I wish you all the best for this new year. Let me know how you're celebrating, or if you're celebrating, or if it's just going to be another day. We'll see you next time, Virgo. You take care. Libra, hello. How you doing? Let's get right into it and see what we can see. Thank you for the week of December 29th. All right, so we've got the High Priestess here for you. I'm just looking in your shadow. So I'm just getting this idea that you want to hold on to something. You want to hold on to something that makes you feel nice and secure and stable and happy and, you know, good in your physical environment here. You don't want anything or anyone to take it away from you. And then this big old World card comes and it's kind of like, oh no, what's happening here? Yeah. So let's see how, and then with High Priestess showing up here, it's kind of like, okay, like this feels like a fool's errand a little bit, you know, where you're trying to put your energy, but I could be wrong. Let's see. I've been wrong before. Let's get some clarifiers. I'm laughing because King of Cups in the reverse, it's just, oh no, Libra. Okay. Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. Okay, that's hopeful. I'm like, there's got to be some sort of, you know, the stubbornness has got to let up just a little bit. Just a little bit here. Thank you. Oh, another novel. All right, let's see. Yeah, you're hurting. And I feel like, you know, you just said, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. But it feels like this kind of level of reaction is yeah, just a little bit of, that's actually really nice to see. That's really nice to see. Okay, yeah, it just feels like, you know, if I take you at your word and you say that you're not hurting, you're tired. There is a level of exhaustion that I'm seeing here, just based on, you know, being so focused on trying to make something stick here that I don't see sticking, to be clear. And you're just so, like, whatever this is dominating. And you've just invested so much time and energy and of yourself into this, Libra, that I'm just kind of like, you want it. You're defending it. And for some of you, it might be worth it in the long term. And so that's why you're kind of clinging to this. No, it'll be good. It'll be good. It'll be good. But then that World card is coming in, that shadow there. And it's kind of like, I don't know, like what's happening there? What is that loop closing? Right. And of course, with every door closed is another open. So, you know, it really could be for you, Libra, like it really could be the two extremes, that you're focusing so hard that that door opens, or you're focusing so hard that you don't see that that door is not meant for you. So, and if that door is opening, is it really what you intend it, want it to be? It feels like there's some aspect here of the cost not justifying, or the ends not justifying the means. There is a letdown that's happening here in some way, shape, or form. And it feels like, how much can you force a square peg into a round hole before you realize, first of all, you're sweating, you're tired, your muscles are sore, you can't move. And it's, you know, a fool's errand. Like at which point do we see that, right? In your shadow, you actually look quite lovely here with these 3 6s, which I'm just going to take my handy dandy guy. 3 6s. Success. Okay. So we do have success, Ace of Cups, Temperance, and the Chariot. You're like, see, I told you. I'm not tired. I'm just focused. Oh. I'm just focused. Yeah, I mean, it's undeniable here. Your clarifiers and your shadow here look great, right? We have those 3 6s. We have the Ace of Cups, Temperance, and that Chariot energy, right? Keeping you consistent. But I do see here this 3 of Pentacles, starting something new. Okay, Libra. So, and if we just even look at the imagery of this alone, moving away from keeping ourselves closed off, moving away from focusing so much on protecting what we have. And it just feels like, again, there's some aspect of these themes here with that High Priestess energy. We know we are overworking ourselves. We know we are stressing. We know we are lashing out here. We know this is not the type of leadership or the type of way that we want to be exerting ourselves. We know that we have been doing a lot. You've been doing it all, Libra. And you've not been listening to yourself. And I feel like, have you not been listening to other people as you really try to force this thing along? I feel like whatever success is coming is a result of walking away from trying to force whatever you've been trying to force here, right? We need to leave that energy behind and maybe try a different approach with that Magician, right? Regroup, try something new, and manifest in a different way. Do this from a different perspective, from a different mindset, even, where you acknowledge how much effort has actually gone into this far, right? So, interesting. For sure. Ace of Wands, 7 of Wands here. Yeah, it just feels like you're pushing your own limits, and by doing that, you I'm wondering if you're realizing how much you're pushing or maybe isolating yourself away from your people. And so when you kind of come back to that with that Eight of Cups energy, kind of leaving this forceful vibe, stubborn vibe behind, I'm wondering if you'll gain clarity on that. And that's when that success will come, because it doesn't feel like it's coming with whatever you're entering this week with. You feel a little ruthless, Libra, and I think there's an understanding of that. Five of Cups, Justice. Yeah, so, here you are, strength in the shadow, Five of Swords. Yeah, that conflict, right? It's interesting because we speak on, or I have been speaking on, how stubborn I kind of see you being here. And it's this idea that we don't, a lion doesn't have to say they're a lion, right? We don't have to force, we don't have to push, we don't have to bark or, go over and above just to prove we're strong, or we're a lion, or we're right, or we're this, or we're that, right? We just know. And I'm wondering if maybe that is a realization that you're coming to here. Five of Cups and Justice. Yeah, there's some sort of, there's a sadness here. Perhaps that things didn't work out the way you wanted them to as it relates to this, but it feels again like you knew this. Perhaps there was more at play here than you realized as it relates to this dynamic, Libra. Like more happening in the background that was just making it. It just feels like forcing a situation that wasn't for you. And then kind of understanding that, understanding that. And essentially taking that in and realizing, okay, how can we move forward, right? Yeah, so that's what I see. It's a bit of a hard week for you, I would say, Libra, but once you figure out a workaround, you're good. Yeah. You put a lot into this. You put a lot into this, and so I can tell why you don't want to give it up. Just change your approach. That's what I would say. Okay, Libra, that's what I have for you. I wish you all the best for 2026, and I look forward to reading for you in the new year. You take care. Aquarius, hello. Let's jump right into it and see what we can see. Thank you for the week of December 29th. Nine of Wands, Five of Cups, all right, so there seems to be some fatigue that's happening here, some exhaustion. The good news is that I do see that Fool element coming, as well as Judgment and that Eight of Wands. So whatever we're experiencing here, whatever kind of uncertainty, I don't even know if that's the right word, kind of negativity, I'll keep it there, kind of a blanket. Whatever kind of negativity we're feeling here and these ideas, maybe you're feeling... I hesitate to say lost. Whatever kind of confusion you feel feels brief. And then there's like this aha, oh, I can just do this. And then we move forward very quickly here into planning that out. And for some of you into that execution stage. So I do see things happening relatively quickly for you, Aquarius. Whatever this is, you're working it out in real time, but we're going to go ahead and see what clarifiers we have. Yeah. One more. You're like, I'll give you one more. The cards, everybody has been giving me novels today. Every single sign. So I am not at all surprised. 9. Okay. Okay. Let me just check your shadow. That 6 of Cups is showing up for everyone. Yours seems to be a little bit deeper in your shadow here. Yeah, so it just feels like there's a bit of a struggle here that I'm seeing in your shadow a little bit. Could even be for some of you, you're feeling just a little bit like there's some hiccups or needless setbacks that are kind of getting in your way and stopping you from doing what you need to do here. Okay. Yeah. Hanged Man, I just feel like that speaks on that new perspective here that you're trying to gain, or that comes to you relatively quickly. You're no stranger to taking the road less traveled here. This feels like another way of doing that, another situation where you're taking an alternate route here, and you have no problem standing on your own doing that thing. And kind of proving others wrong in the process here. So this just feels like another variation of that for you as we head into this week, Aquarius. Okay, clarifying that 9 of Wands, we have the 9 of Swords, the Sun, Empress, Page of Swords, 8 of Cups, 9 of Cups, King of Pentacles, Temperance, Ace of Wands, right? So again, really speaking to this idea of there's a little bit of unsure, maybe overthinking here, trying to work it out in your brain. When I see the 9 of Swords for you, I really see you as being overwhelmed by all the different routes that a certain scenario can go. And yes, there could be insomnia, there could be overthinking, all of these kind of normal things that the 9 of Swords represents. But for you specifically, Aquarius, when I see this, it's kind of like the overwhelming, it's like seeing, when I see this card for you, it's almost like you're playing chess. And when you close your eyes, I don't know if anyone's seen Queen's Gambit, but how she can see all the different ways in which to, she's playing out all these scenarios in real time of how to win and you know, win the game or win the match. That's what I see for you with this 9 of Swords here. You're sorting it out, and it's almost like, okay, we're here now, we need to move into this, and we gain that clarity, we figure it out, we know where we need to go, and we very much move on and make that happen. So that's kind of what I'm seeing for you here. I think where I'm catching you energetically excuse me, is the place right before you start to figure it out, and you're kind of showing me like, oh, here we are, you know, and your vibe is kind of like, well, I didn't, you know, I'm not surprised that we're here again, kind of idea. But now that we're here, we need to figure out how to get over there, kind of idea. And so, yeah, you're just sorting it out. You're figuring it out. There, again, it's like this idea of exhaustion. We're tired. I get that. The way you maneuver, it takes a lot to see everything. It takes a lot to see a lot. And so I feel that for you, because you're constantly having to look, analyze, clarify, strategize, all of that, right? So I feel that. And perhaps you weren't, yes, there's a clarity of, okay, we knew we were here. Perhaps you weren't, there's, some kind of idea of we weren't expecting to be here so soon, or we weren't expecting this to happen just now. Like the timing might be unexpected, but there's clarity around, we knew it would get to this kind of idea. And so now we need to figure out how to move forward past this. And you seem to be doing that very well here, right into that personal success, into that personal level of achievement here. So whatever this is does feel very temporary. And you've got, you're being steadfast, you're being all the things that I expect you to be, steadfast, balanced, seeing all sides here, perhaps maybe a little bit more diplomatic than normal. Okay, with that temperance, allowing for, people to come in, or someone to come in and present different opportunities, or present this dynamic in a different way, and kind of hash it out with them so you can see their perspective, before you ultimately decide to go ahead and move forward and once you figure out your way, you are doing it that way, right? So that's kind of what I'm seeing for you this week. Okay, let's go ahead and get some final thoughts here. That's too many, my friend. Knight of Wands. Yeah. Wheel of Fortune. The World. Interesting. Well, I didn't see that coming. But maybe you did. This idea of something is coming to a close here. And perhaps that's what this is, kind of more of a major thing, a major part of your life, a monumental part of your life is coming to a close here. And I didn't pick up on that, but maybe you did. And the Wheel of Fortune, not surprised to see that card as much as I have been seeing, just because we are transitioning into a new year here. So it could be that with that new year, you are toying with the idea of, moving on, branching out, changing career, changing, some sort of foundational aspect of your, how you show up in this world, right? Knight of Wands, again, that idea here, it doesn't take you long to move forward. It doesn't take you long to figure it out, that it's coming, right? And so again, I see that it's coming, and I'm wondering if whatever's happening here, whatever you're deciding to do once you gain that clarity and analyze it for yourself, is going to spark something for the new year where a major loop is closing out for you, right? So that's exciting to see for sure. And yeah, it's, again, you're just being very protective of what it is that you're trying to create, what it is you're trying to make here, and being very selective with your energy, with your time, with, what matters to you. And that's important because you take on a lot, right? You see a lot. You play chess. And so it makes sense that you're going to be selective. Aquarius, that's what I have for you, okay, as we head into 2026. Thank you so much for stopping by. You know, I always like reading for you. And even if you kind of keep me guessing, keep me on my toes a little bit, it's always fun. I wish you all the best for 2026, and I look forward to reading for you in the new year. You take care. Gemini, hello. Let's jump right in and see what we can see for the week of December 29th. Okay, so you're showing up here. You're present for your reading. Hi, welcome. 8 of Swords as your card here. And then we have that High Priestess in the shadow. Okay, perhaps you're showing up in a different role or in a new way with something here, and it feels a little bit uncomfortable. Perhaps you're taking the lead on something, Gemini, and that is having you feeling a little bit like uncomfortable. Let's go ahead and get some clarifiers here. Oh. Okay. Okay, too many. We're just taking a look in your shadow, Gemini. So, okay, what I'm seeing here just in your shadow is obviously that 8 of Swords. So you showing up, but also you showing up here as well. So it feels like there's kind of two, you know, seeing which way we can go here. And it really does feel like kind of glass half empty versus glass half full energy here, and really trying to determine where you're going to direct your energy here. And it feels like there's an inclination for that glass half full kind of mindset here, or perhaps that's what we're trying to come out of, right? So instead of being a little bit more, instead being a little bit more optimistic than perhaps you're used to here, and having this understanding that we need to take the lead. This is something that we know needs to happen. Take control, take, assert ourselves in this way. Okay, however that is showing up for you in your life, Gemini. And perhaps there's a natural tendency for the to see, or call it realism, okay? A tendency to see, you know, all the ways that this can go wrong, or to kind of overthink it, where we want to see, or we want to make it a point to be more in that glass half full energy here. So coming into your shadow, into your clarifiers, we have the 7 of Pentacles in reverse, along with that 2 of Swords, Magician upright, 9 of Wands upright, the World in reverse, Judgment right side up, and that 10 of Cups in the reverse here. It just feels like we're going in circles here. That's kind of what I'm getting. Yeah. It's like a hamster wheel. Like, can we get off it? You know? breaking this down, yeah, it does feel like you're taking on a role that is different, or pushing you to a limit, like pushing you to a limit that you don't encounter normally. Okay. And we're like, but we need to do this. But oh my gosh, like this is exhausting here. Like, will it end? Is this gonna end? Can we be done here? No, we can't be done. No, we can't. Not yet. Not when you want to be. And it just, yeah, it just speaks to this kind of level of discomfort. But you're pushing through regardless. And 10 of Cups in reverse here, you know, it could just be that could just be speaking on the level of discomfort you're feeling. It could just be speaking on kind of your patience or your tolerance level with whatever this is here that we're encountering. It could be that you're not, you kind of set out here with some sort of expectation of how this would feel at the end, and your expectation didn't meet reality kind of idea here. On the other hand, Gemini, it could be that you understand that taking control and taking the lead in this way is a little bit challenging. But it's changing your idea of what you initially thought you could, like what would be enough for you in terms of your life and what you wanted for yourself. Taking control in this way, and perhaps being a little bit more pushed outside of your comfort and taking the lead and choosing to see things from a more optimistic mindset here. You're realizing that perhaps you were putting limitations on your life and how you are going to be fulfilled by the life that you're living, right? And so perhaps that's what we're seeing here as you step into this new role here. It's a very interesting reading, Gemini, for sure. And a few different ways to apply these cards to your life. So again, just please take what resonates here. With that universal message here, I am seeing this idea of, you know, with that wand energies, almost elevating, like your energy's elevating, right? Rising up. And there's this idea of being safeguarding that. Making sure nothing, like this feels pure, and it's almost like we want it to remain untouched. I'm just getting this idea that whatever we're wanting to, whatever role we're stepping into is important. And it feels like it's a little bit challenging, but we know we got to do it, right? Ace of Wands. So double aces, Chariot coming through here. Consistency is key. Yeah, and that idea of kind of pushing yourself, right? You're pushing yourself to a limit here. It does feel like that for sure. Testing your boundaries, which only you can do in this way. And the Ace of Wands coming through, it's this idea of finding some new spark, some new energy here, or finding that kind of joy in that beauty in what it is that you're exploring, right? And this idea of we're trying to see that optimism. We're trying to see all the benefits and all the different ways that we, you know, can seek out and take more ownership, lean into a little bit more power and how that feels, right? Because it looks like it feels good for you, Gemini, in a way that maybe you didn't expect, right, at the outset. So that's what I have for you. Beautiful, beautiful. Love it. I wish you all the best for 2026, and I look forward to reading for you in the new year. You take care. We'll see you next time. Cancer, hello. Let's jump right in and see what we can see for the week of December 29th. Two of Wands, Queen of Pentacles here. Oh, you got all your queens showing up. Well, not all of them, but look at you go. I am just consulting to see what 2 9s and 3 queens mean. 3 queens, deception by women. 2 9s. Nope, that was 2 10s. 2 9s, receipt. And then there you are. Interesting. I'm just feeling like there's a focus on the home, which makes sense. Yeah, it feels like there's more than one person involved here. It's almost like you've got one stance and they've got another stance, and you could be this and they could be this, and I'm just wondering if you're at a stalemate with this person here. Interesting. Okay, let's go ahead and get some clarifiers for you. All right, so you're showing up here with that Chariot energy, King of Cups. Others. Okay. 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 Interesting. I'm just going to take a look in that shadow. So I'm wondering if somebody's trying to rain on your parade. I got this with Taurus as well. Like someone's taking the wrong energy to that 3 of Cups. This is what I'm seeing here. It just feels like that's like a like an over exaggeration, and it feels like perhaps for this individual, some things could have been to their credit, some things could have been building up over time, and so they're kind of like not trying to sabotage your joy, but it's kind of like, oh, this was unexpected, like take it down a notch. And they're kind of like, well, actually I've been struggling with this for some time, kind of idea. So I'm just wondering if that dynamic is happening or showing up in real time for you here, or if it's something that they're just kind of sending energetically, where you're over here kind of minding yours and you're like, yeah, no, I'm doing good. I'm all good. And they're kind of like, well, I'm not, and this is why. So just kind of keep that in mind, Cancer. For your Two of Wands, we have that clarified by the Chariot, King of Cups, Lovers. And then we go into Seven of Swords in reverse, Four of Pentacles in reverse, the Star in reverse, and the Seven of Cups in reverse. And again, we have double sevens. So again, I'm looking, and we're going to see. Reversed. Huh. Women of no repute is what it says for sevens in reverse. So I'm wondering, I'm wondering if somebody is really trying with, some feminine energy here, really kind of challenging you, okay? And you're not really in a mind to engage in that challenge. And I'm wondering if for some of you, you're kind of feeling like you're not a little bit like whatever's happening here is like beneath you in a way. And I don't mean that you're like in a condescending way. It's just kind of like you're kind of sitting here struggling and you're like, first of all, you're bringing this up now. Second of all, you're making this whole scene about this. This is what you're worried about. That's kind of what I'm seeing here for you taking place this week here. And so, so the more that I'm looking at it, it feels like you're kind of this energy here in terms of we're focused on the home, we want to enjoy, and then somebody is kind of on the other side. Could be somebody that you see as an equal, okay? And they're kind of like, well, I have a list of things that are deficiencies, and these have been really impacting me, and here's why. And so, it just feels like there's some sort of conflict here that we're heading into. That could be with another woman, again, that I see potentially coming and being your equal here. Or somebody with coming at you with some feminine energy. And like with the Seven of Swords, it's like the good news is they're not doing it behind your back. They're coming to your face about it, right? And so that feels good. But it feels like they're not holding anything back here. And it just feels like whatever happens, I'm wondering if there's a possibility here for it to kind of go off the rails. So very interesting dynamic, Cancer, for you as we head into this week. I mean, taking this here, first of all, you're showing up, you're showing up pretty nicely, I would say. And I just feel like, okay, this person isn't, whatever is happening, it's not happening behind your back. So at least they afforded you that. But it's just kind of this idea of like, well, why now? And we have the Seven of Cups in reverse, but I don't feel like there's any added clarity here to this. It could be, that this is a soul bond connection here. This is somebody that I see as being your equal, Cancer. So it could be, you know, your partner, could be somebody that you have a karmic bond to. I feel like that's more the situation here. Although it could be your partner, like I said. Yeah, and it just kind of feels like you're not wanting to engage in this. The Ace of Wands and the Seven of Wands is the universal message. It feels like you're kind of protecting your peace here. And again, just kind of doing what you can do to not acknowledge this is what I'm seeing. Just kind of letting that person more or less do their thing. And you're kind of saying, you can do that and I'm going to be here. Let's go ahead and get some final thoughts for Cancer. It's like, you can say all that and I'm just going to be here at home. Yeah, Seven of Cups. Yeah, Four of Swords. Yeah, it's, you're like, I want to be enjoying what I want to enjoy, spending my time celebrating what I want to celebrate. Like, can we just move on? Can we just move on? Can I just be not here? You're not, it feels like you're not engaging in this, or you're not present with it. Seven of Cups, confusion around, you know, where is this coming from? What's happening here? What's going on? We do have the 3 sevens. Yeah, it just feels like there's something here, perhaps an attack that you feel, or you feel slighted in some type of way, and you're really trying not to engage it, or let it bother you, is what I'm seeing here. Yeah, good luck, Cancer. You know, it does feel like you kind of want to rise above this. What I would say, just given that Lover's connection here, it's almost like you're disappearing as soon as this is coming through. And it's, if this relationship has as much weight as what you're saying it does, do we not owe them the benefit of engaging in this conversation, having this conversation? Well, we can still protect ourselves, right? And do what we need to do to kind of keep our energy our own. Do we not, like, this relationship is of value. It is of importance here. It's one you hold high. Should we not hear them out? Right? Just something to think about, because your energy is so, I don't have time for this. I'm wondering if perhaps we need to push that a little bit. But anyway, Cancer, that's what I have for you as we close out 2025. It has been quite the year. I wish you all the best for 2026. It's been such a pleasure reading for you up until this point, and I can't wait to keep on reading for you as we enter into the new year. I wish you well, and we'll see you next time. You take care. Scorpio, hello. Let's jump right in and see what we can see for the week of December 29th. All right, not a fan. 3 of Swords, 5 of Swords, and then we're just going to take a look in your shadow here. So on the other side of that conflict here, you look pretty good, stable, secure, all of that. Knowing your pillars, knowing what you stand for here. So you look strong, stable, secure on the other end of that conflict there. So that's really, really nice to see. You're not second guessing your stance. You're not second guessing your position here. And that's really lovely. Let's go ahead and get some clarifiers for that 3 of Swords. Not happy to see that. Okay, we've got 2 aces here. Thank you. Okay. And I'm just going to take a look in that shadow. Yeah, so again, so to be honest, Scorpio, it feels like the only person you're up against is yourself. And that's not to say that other people aren't around you trying to push or test or prod or whatever. What it feels like is that that is all manageable. What's important to you is going through and hustling in the way that you have been, doing what you have been doing, and making sure you're grinding it out for, you know, where you see yourself headed. And the only thing that can really kind of knock your confidence or knock you off track is you questioning yourself, you doubting your own ability here. And so that's kind of what I'm seeing here, right? That Chariot energy, a little bit of Cancer coming through here, this idea that we're consistent, we're showing up, we're pushing. You are motivating yourself. You're doing what you need to do. And that's really good to see. So I'm seeing, yes, we do have that conflict here, which has popped its way into your clarifiers here. But again, it's this idea, and really not the best looking cards, but we'll get there. But it's like this idea that, you know, whatever you're going through, there's an understanding that it's temporary. There's an understanding of where it matters in the big scheme of things here. And yes, it might be popping up now, and you know, you might be having to deal with these sort of things in this moment here, but it's not detracting you from your goal, which is really nice to see. Coming into the clarifiers for that Three of Swords, we've got the Four of Swords, Ace of Cups, Seven of Cups, Seven of Wands, right, which is part of that universal message as well. We've got the Ten of Swords, that Ace of Swords, and then that Five of Swords in reverse. So a lot of swords, actually. Debate is coming to mind here. Perhaps testing the testing your tolerance is what's coming here. I am just looking up those double sevens. Bear with me. News. Okay. So you might be getting some news here as it relates to, and it could be that news helps this Three of Swords situation. Right? It helps kind of maybe soften that just a little bit here, right? Because we have the 10, then the Ace, and then that Five of Swords in reverse. It just feels like, yes, this is conflict here that we need to face, but it's kind of at the end of the day, we know where it matters, like I said, on the scale of things here. This feels more internal, like you're processing your old wounds here, and perhaps somebody or some situation is triggering that to come to the surface for you, Scorpio. And you know, all cycles are repeating until we can finish the cycle, and so it feels like whatever kind of situation or whatever kind of conflict we have coming through, obviously you're so resolute in that. For me, it's obvious. For you, it might not be. And so this is kind of coming back in this kind of cycle or this kind of format for you, Scorpio, to realize, or to make you realize that you are not the Scorpio that you were. These traumas of the past are, you know, you're dealing with them and you're coming to terms with them, and they don't hurt. Perhaps you're realizing they don't hurt as much as they did, right? And there's this kind of breakaway from these old wounds, right? You're working through them, and yes, this dynamic might bring them to the surface, but it feels like they don't sting as much as you anticipated, right? And whatever that ending is, it's very quickly turns into a new beginning, right? It kind of turns that conflict on its head. It kind of puts it into perspective a little bit, is what I'm seeing here for you. So not only do we have these two aces, right? The Ace of Cups, Ace of Swords, but we also have that Ace of Wands and that universal message. So it does feel like with the start of 2026 here, we are starting off, Scorpio, I do believe, with some sort of bang. Okay. And it doesn't have to be a big moment. It doesn't have to be like a, you know, pause the clock, very monumental kind of thing. It could just be a very calm shift into something. But by big moment, I do mean, or starting off with a bang, I do mean powerful for you, right? And again, with that Seven of Wands energy, you're it feels like uncharted waters. You're navigating in a way that is unfamiliar, but still intentional. Almost like it's a, I don't want to say sink or swim, but it kind of feels like that. You're kind of thrown into the deep end, and now you have to figure it out, and you're figuring it out as you go. That's kind of what I'm seeing here. But you have that foundation. You have that, you know, that consistency that you have taken into this year, right? You have your pillars, so you know where you stand, and you're taking that knowledge and that experience and that perspective with you into this. Let's get some final thoughts here for Scorpio. Queen of Cups. Yeah. 10 of Swords in the shadow there. 10 of Pentacles. 10 of Wands. Wow. I've been using this book so much today. All right. 3 tens. New condition. Yeah. Yeah. So, and again, that's really what I'm seeing here for you, Scorpio. New condition here, right? Ace of Wands. You have changed. The circumstances around you are changing. You're honestly, it feels like your vibration has changed, and therefore your surroundings are changing. And this is part of that. We're clearing out any old wounds and releasing those wounds from our being in order to make way for new. And you're figuring it out in real time, which is amazing. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. What a great way to transition into the new year, Scorpio. I love that for you. And of course, that Queen of Cups, which I didn't even speak on, you know, having that intuition, having that clarity here, having that insight of knowing what is meant for us and what isn't. And I think you're still surprising yourself with how much you have wisdom you have gained and clarity you have gained over this year. And so it's almost like you're oh yeah, I did. Oh yeah, I guess I don't react to that in the way that I normally did. Or oh, I'm waiting for this thing. Oh, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, this happened, but I'm not as affected by it, right? So just, the little ways the universe kind of reminds us how much we've changed and how far we've come. Feels like that kind of vibe for you, Scorpio. Okay. Thank you so much for stopping by. It's always a pleasure. It's a pleasure reading for every sign, but I truly enjoy reading for you, and I look forward to reading for you more in the new year. I wish you all the best, Scorpio, and we'll see you next time in 2026. See you next year. Take care. Pisces, hello. Let's get right into it and see what we can see for the week of December 29th. Emperor, Six of Wands, lovely energy, the Fool, Knight of Cups, Empress, Wheel of Fortune, King of Pentacles. You're looking good. The Emperor showing up, taking control. I also feel like taking accountability. Spirit just said that to me in my ear a little bit as well, so that's really nice. Gaining some recognition here. Hopefully that's a good thing for you, Pisces. The Fool energy, I do think it is. And just kind of letting things go, getting back on track. Just really going forward in a way that is aligned to you, which is quite nice. Let's go ahead and get some clarifiers for you. Yeah, okay, so that Knight of Cups is popping out into your clarifiers here. Thank you. Hello, hello. Okay. So far, so good, Pisces. I am loving this. Okay. All right. Just taking a look in your, yeah. Okay. So the Tower showing up in the shadow, Pisces, this feels like you're facing some stuff here, coming head to head with some things here, and Temperance, finding that balance, but first finding that clarity, that insight, that honesty required, and then kind of moving forward in that best way possible, again with that Fool energy showing up deeper in that shadow there. Things have to get uncomfy first before we can go ahead and find that clarity, and it feels like you're somewhere safe where that Tower can happen. You're somewhere secure where that Tower can happen, where you can have that opportunity to be vulnerable in order to have that conversation with yourself, show your vulnerable side, right? Whatever I'm seeing here, whatever this Tower is, there's an opportunity within it to have that level of vulnerability, have that level of honesty here, and still feel secure while that Tower is taking place and taking shape here. Okay, so that's really nice. So with that Emperor energy, we do have that clarified by the Knight of Cups, Two of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles, Wheel of Fortune, the Moon, you, Ace of Pentacles, and Six of Pentacles here. So very grounded. First and foremost here is what I'm going to say. Very practical here. Very much in the present. Right. And this does ring true on, you know, that Emperor energy. Yes, he is fire, right? But he's also the father of the tarot. So leaning in to more of that Emperor energy, sacrificing one thing for the benefit of something else, having that clarity of understanding, of knowing what we need to do, right? And kind of asserting control, taking accountability, assuming responsibility in order to move forward and get that thing or those things done as it relates to whatever dynamic is coming up on the board. Okay, Pisces, what I'm seeing here is this idea of that emotional clarity, that clarity in general, that idea of we have had some time to reflect and understand what we want, where we want to be, who we want to be, right? All of these things, which again, the transition into the new year, I feel people naturally start thinking on. So not totally surprised that you're showing up with that as well. Feels like the mindset for you is, where do I want to be? And how can I take steps to make that happen, right? Action. You know, what do I want my life to look like? And then how can I start? There's an opportunity here to start giving more to what you want to give to, right? Keeping in mind that King of Pentacles, that legacy, that security, that sense of having success and feeling the comfort of being surrounded by what we have amassed. I feel security is important for you Pisces, or at least for the Pisces that I read for. So seeing that King of Pentacles and seeing all of this Pentacle energy as you head into the new year is nothing short of you know, I feel almost necessary for you in terms of your line of thinking. And so now you're kind of like, okay, I'm going to take control. I'm going to bring that control into the new year where I show up for myself and, you know, be in control of your own destiny at this point, right? And what you need to get done, which is really lovely. Where that Tower fits in, you know, for some of you, it could be that Tower already happened, and so now you're kind of finding your footing. For others of you, it could be that you're heading into this based on the amount of grounded energy that you have. You feel almost ready for that Tower to come, almost expecting it, so that you can really shake loose some things that you've been leaning on maybe a little bit too heavily here, you know, and maybe that Ace of Pentacles is tied to that Tower in some form or fashion, right? Universal message as it relates to you Pisces with that Ace of Wands and that Seven of Wands. You feel protective of yourself. Almost this idea of keeping your circle close, keeping keeping to yourself. And yes, there is that recognition component there. But I see that as more showing people what you want them to see kind of idea, right? Kind of keeping in line of strategy, keeping in line of, you know, taking the lead in some way. What am I giving to this at this moment, right? So just a little bit more selective, right? Oh, okay, too many. Any final thoughts here? So we've got the Empress and the Page of Cups. So that's really lovely here. We've got the Emperor and the Empress. Before I even go into this here, we do have the Mother and the Father of the Tarot, which is really quite lovely to see for you, Pisces. This idea of taking accountability, taking charge, having that leadership there, right? But not being too firm with it, too firm with others, too firm with yourself. There is that idea of, you know, having a new idea, right? Giving birth to new ideas, renewal, comfort, enjoyment, right? Taking this, not taking this so too seriously, but just serious enough. Balance, right? With that masculine and that feminine. It feels, again, you feel grounded, you feel practical, you feel aligned. Okay. King of Cups in your shadow, along with that 10 of Swords and that 10 of Pentacles here. Yeah, you know, some changes coming for sure. I see that here. We're bringing some things to a close, and with 2025, it feels like anything, it feels like there at least is this intention here to put, to close out those loops that you've been struggling to close this year, right? And with King of Pisces, or with King of Cups showing up, King of Pisces, with King of Cups showing up here, it's this idea of, okay, now we need to actually we need to follow through on this, right? And leave these XYZ in the past so we can embrace and open ourselves energetically up to 1, 2, 3, which is going to get us to where we eventually want to be, right? So just kind of safeguarding yourself, but doing it from a place that seems very balanced here. And, you know, very secure, which is lovely. What a beautiful, beautiful way to close out this year and bring in the new one. Pisces, it's always a pleasure reading for you. I know you get a bit of tough love from me. And you know, it's been a rocky year, I would say, for a lot of the signs, but I do feel Pisces especially. So, you know, it's always a pleasure reading for you. I'm glad that this is the energy you're bringing in the new year with, and I look forward to reading for you in the new year. I wish you all the best, and I'll see you in 2026. You take care.